Some thoughts regarding Chapter 3. At first, Pink seems that he's going to be oblivious that attributing military victory to the patron deity was a form of tribalism. But he does get to that, but then asserts that, well, Israel was different because they attributed their military defeats to Jehovah as well. But he doesn't seem to get, or at least mention here, that that's a bit of a monotheizing effort on the part of the biblical writers, in order to support their idea, which developed over time, that Yahweh was the sovereign of all humanity. They needed to get away from the model that military defeat meant the other nation's God was stronger than your God. They had to provide an alternate explanation, which they were able to do rather creatively. Also, he doesn't mention that this was also a motivator for people to support the dominant sacral system. The idea that, well, this tragedy wouldn't have happened if you were properly contributing to the cult of Yahweh. He then mentions, and I'm going to quote here, human historians are inclined to conceal or extenuate the faults of their favorites. Well, the Bible does so as well. The whole episode with the sons of Korah rebelling against Moses, that's kind of meant to elevate Moses' character, who was the meekest of all the people, and yet he's able to summon God up to suck down people into Sheol whenever they question his authority. But another example would be, the polemicizing of Saul compared to the exaltation of David. This even happens before the Samuel narratives. Judges chapter 19 is a really good example of this. And I've covered this in another video, so I'll link to it. But also, Saul is meant to be portrayed as incompetent and cowardly as possible. And, that he was justifiably killed in battle because of idolatry, in comparison to David, the virtuous and godly upstart who led the kingdom into a period of greatness which was never seen before or after. He then, at about 13 minutes, attempts an apologetic explanation of what I see as a genuine narrative problem. This is regarding John the Baptist. He tries to claim that John the Baptist was a doubter, and that in the gospel narrative he later questions Jesus' office after having acknowledged it previously. Where I think what's actually happening here is a narrative problem which has been created by the writer of the Gospel of Matthew in the way that he used Mark's gospel. He has earlier in the narrative John the Baptist acknowledging Jesus' office, where later he really doesn't seem to have an idea of who Jesus was. And so this was Pink's explanation. I think this is a good topic for a separate video, so I think I will go ahead and do that and compare the baptism passages in the Synoptic Gospels along with the later episode of John the Baptist in prison, and we'll see how that goes. Also, at around the 15-minute mark, Pink says something like, since the time of David, all of the women in Israel wanted to be the one who would bear the Messiah, as if there was going to be, this single Messiah, which of course is meant to be Jesus. This is pure anachronism. This is about as silly as asserting that during the Davidic kingdom, little boys carried around copies of the Torah. It's really that bad. But as someone who's a staunch anti-historical criticism bigot, like Pink is, I suppose that's to be expected.